everyone, it's Roy here from rwilco12 and epicdroid.com. Today I'm here to tell you about my experience with the OnePlus 5. The OnePlus 5 was officially released on June 20th. I got it as part of the early bird deal, so I've had it for a little over 2 months. I've been using it as my primary device pretty much since the day that I got it. The OnePlus 5 has taken a lot of flack for some issues that it's had, as well as OnePlus's handling of those issues. I'm not going to be talking about any of those issues today, and will instead be focusing on the device itself. Now, before we dive in too far, I will tell you, so far, this is my favorite device of 2017. I'm going to tell you why I love it, and I'll even tell you about a little bit about the things that I don't like quite as much. Then you can decide whether or not it is the right phone for you. So first things first, let's talk about specs. The OnePlus 5 comes with a 5.5-inch Gorilla Glass display and a resolution of 1080 by 1920. It comes with an octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 processor that clocks in at up to 2.45 gigahertz. There are two different models that come with either 6 gigs of LPDDR4X memory and 64 gigs of storage, or the other version, which comes with 8 gigs of memory and 128 gigs of storage. Other than the memory and the storage, the only other real difference between the two variants is the colors. Both versions of the OnePlus 5 have a 3,300 mAh battery as well as a USB-C charging port. The OnePlus 5 also features a unique slider that gives you 3 different customizable alert settings. So now that we've gone over the specs, let's talk about what it is that I love most about the OnePlus 5. There are a lot of things to like about the OnePlus 5. There are a lot of things to love about the OnePlus 5, but I'm going to keep my list short and I'm just going to give you my top 5. The one thing I love the absolute most about the OnePlus 5 is how easy it is to customize it. OnePlus made it so it is super easy to unlock the bootloader and then to root your OnePlus 5. That in and of itself unlocks a ton of options for customizing your device. But if you're one of those who prefer not to root your device, there are still dozens of options built into stock Oxygen OS that you can use. You can set up scheduled times for your device to turn off and on. You can choose between on-screen navigation buttons, or you can choose between capacitive buttons, or you can keep both of them. You can swap the position of those same buttons. You can add additional actions to those buttons. So if you double tap, it'll do one thing. If you long press, it'll do another. You can enable gesture support. You can enable double tap to wake, and you can even customize the status bar up top and so much more. So my second thing. The OnePlus 5 features a dual camera setup with both a 16 megapixel wide-angle lens as well as a 20 megapixel telephoto lens. This unique lens combination gives you the ability to use optical zoom so you can get closer to the subject of the picture without losing any photo quality. I'm not a fan of the big camera bump that they gave the OnePlus 5, but despite the awkwardness of that bump, it takes some pretty impressive pictures and I absolutely love it. So item number 3, dash charging. Most devices nowadays come with some form of quick charge or fast charge. These technologies are pretty similar, but the end goal is that they deliver faster charging times for their given device. OnePlus did the same thing with dash charge, and it's a little bit different than the other ones, but it allows you to charge your device from 0 to 100% in a little bit over an hour. The great thing is that with those other technologies, you use the device while it's charging and it starts to get hot. With dash charge on the OnePlus 5, you can use it while it's charging and it doesn't heat up at all. So before the OnePlus 5, I was convinced the only place for a fingerprint scanner was on the back of the phone. Now, I've used the OnePlus 5 and the front-facing fingerprint scanner. I've come to realize a front-facing fingerprint scanner can work just as well as the one on the back. I still prefer it on the back, but this one is definitely no slouch. The best part is that it is insanely fast and accurate. I can count the number of times I've had to rescan a fingerprint on one hand. So rounding out my list of my top 5 things is water resistance on the OnePlus 5. There's no official spec on the water resistance, and OnePlus has specifically said it doesn't have an IP rating. But there have been numerous dunk tests where the OnePlus 5 has been submerged in water and it comes out working without any problems. I personally have no plans to dunk my OnePlus 5, but it brings me some peace of mind knowing that I could and that it should survive. So now let's go over the list of the things I don't like. This list is short, but no device is perfect. I want you guys to get the full picture and not just the good stuff. That way you can make an informed decision. My biggest complaint with the OnePlus 5 is the auto rotation. On pretty much every device I've ever owned, I leave auto rotation enabled. I like to be able to rotate my device into landscape or into portrait mode based on what it is I'm doing. With the OnePlus 5, I leave it locked in portrait mode unless I specifically am doing something where I want it in landscape. The sensor on this device is so incredibly sensitive that holding it at the slightest angle triggers the rotation, and it's rotating even when I don't want it to. So number 2 on my list of things that I don't like has to be battery life. I've had the OnePlus 5 for 2 months now, and I've seen both the highs and the lows of battery life on it. When it first came out, the battery life was amazing. I managed a full day of moderate use without needing to charge it once, and when I did charge it, it charged super fast thanks to dash charge. Then OnePlus released several updates back to back, and all of a sudden I was needing to charge my OnePlus after 4 or 5 hours. They've released a few more updates, battery life has improved, but it's still not where it was when I first got it. I'm sure it will get better, and I'm sure that they'll get it back to where it was, but that small stretch of really bad battery life has kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. So last on my list is the look of the device. I actually like the look of it, but it is such a blatant ripoff of the iPhone that it kind of bugs me. In today's age, it's hard to make a unique device. Everybody is making phones, and they all have many of the same features. But when you make a phone that matches one of your biggest competitors so that even the cameras line up almost perfectly, you need to get a new creative design team. At least try to make it a teensy bit different so that it stands out and so that people know you're not using an iPhone. Overall, I am very, very satisfied with my OnePlus 5. It is my first device from OnePlus, and I have to say that based off of the OnePlus 5, I plan on getting the OnePlus 6 when it rolls out. I would absolutely recommend the OnePlus 5 to anyone. OnePlus did get a lot of grief when the OnePlus 5 was initially announced because it was more expensive than previous OnePlus devices. Despite that, it is much cheaper than the competition at $479 with the 6 gig of memory and 64 gig of storage version, or $539 with the 8 gig and 128 gigs of storage. I myself use the 6 gig version and find that it more than meets my needs. I also bought the Samsung Galaxy S8 a few months before I bought this, and it comes out just a little bit under twice the price of the OnePlus 5, but I would take my OnePlus 5 any day over the Galaxy S8. If you're looking for a good, reliable, quality device, the OnePlus 5 is definitely worth checking out. We'll have links to where you can order it in the video description down below. If you have any questions or you want to learn more about the OnePlus 5, hit us up in the comments section and we'll do our best to help you out. If you guys don't already, please remember to subscribe to us on Twitter and YouTube so you can stay up to date with all of our latest content. And as always, I just want to tell you guys thank you for watching, thank you for all your support, and you all have an awesome day.